Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to share a story with you. A story about persistence, anxiety, and how the two often collide. It's a story I think many of us can relate to because, let's be honest, life can feel like an uphill battle sometimes. But here's the thing, it's not about avoiding the struggle, it's about learning how to keep going, even when it feels impossible. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's dive in. Imagine this. You're sitting at your desk, staring at a blank screen. You've got a big project due, but instead of working, you're paralyzed by this overwhelming sense of dread. Your heart's racing, your thoughts are spiraling, and you can't seem to focus. Sound familiar? That's anxiety. And it's not just in your head, it's in your brain. Neuroscientist Dr. Judson Brewer, in his book Unwinding Anxiety, explains that anxiety is like a habit loop. Your brain perceives a threat, even if it's not real, and it triggers this cycle of worry and fear. The problem is, the more you feed that loop, the stronger it gets. And before you know it, anxiety has stolen your focus, your energy, and your ability to move forward. But here's the good news. Just like any habit, anxiety can be unwound, and that's where our story begins. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah wanted to write a book. She dreamed about it for years, but every time she sat down to write, anxiety would creep in. What if I'm not good enough? What if no one reads it? The doubts were endless. Then, Sarah came across a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. In it, Clear talks about the power of small, consistent actions. Instead of trying to write an entire chapter in one sitting, Sarah committed to writing just 200 words a day. At first, it felt too easy, but over time, those 200 words added up. And something amazing happened. The anxiety started to fade. Why? Because small wins build momentum. They prove to your brain that you do it. And slowly but surely, Sarah finished her book. Sarah's story is a reminder that persistence isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up even when it's hard. And sometimes the smallest steps can lead to the biggest breakthroughs. Now let's talk about the stories we tell ourselves. Because here's the thing, anxiety loves to whisper in your ear. You're not good enough, you'll never succeed. But what if you could rewrite that script? There's a technique called cognitive restructuring. It's all about identifying those negative thoughts and replacing them with something more realistic and more kind. For example, instead of thinking, I'll never finish this project, you could say, I'm making progress, one step at a time. It's not about pretending everything's perfect. It's about giving yourself permission to be human. And when you do that, something shifts. The anxiety loses its grip, and you start to believe in yourself again. Here's a truth bomb. Persistence isn't just about pushing through. It's also about being kind to yourself. Dr. Kristen Neff, the author of, says that self-compassion is like a safety net. When you fall, and you will fall, it catches you. Instead of beating yourself up, you say, this is hard, but I'm doing my best. I'll never forget the first time I tried this. I was working on a project and I missed a deadline. My first instinct was to berate myself, but then I paused and asked, what would I say to a friend in this situation? And just like that, the weight lifted. I realized I didn't have to be perfect, I just had to keep going. Here's the thing about persistence. It's not a straight line, it's more like climbing a mountain. There are steep climbs, rocky paths, and moments when you want to turn back. But with every step, you get stronger. Angela Duckworth, in her book, calls this as sticking with your future, day in and day out. It's not about talent or luck. It's about showing up, even when it's hard. And when you combine that persistence with tools to manage anxiety, mindfulness, self-compassion, and small, consistent actions, you become unstoppable. So, here's my challenge to you. What's one small step you can take today? Maybe it's writing 200 words, or meditating for 5 minutes, or simply giving yourself permission to be human. Remember, persistence isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, even when it's hard. If this resonated with you, give this video a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and let me know in the comments. What's one thing you're going to do today to stay persistent and manage anxiety? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.